All right. Good morning and good afternoon and good evening. I see we have many time zones represented. So, welcome to all of you. Welcome to the Cosmic Compass Conversations. Good to see you. As we begin today, we're having an opportunity to go into a pretty powerful week. This is one of those weeks where we have a lot of energy happening around us. Clearly, you can see that in the world, but there's also just an incredible amount of energy in the cosmos. So let's do some breathing first, and then I will share a little bit of that astrology with you, and then I'll pull the cards because I think we definitely want a little extra support this week. And you never know, right? We just don't know what the messages are going to be, which I love. Okay. All right. So if you're comfortable and you want to close your eyes, you can. I like to close my eyes and just bring my awareness inward. You can bring your awareness into your body. You can drop your vision down. Please don't do this if you're driving or walking, but you can still breathe. Bringing that awareness inward, allowing the energies to just kind of start to settle, breathing into your belly, expanding your belly. And exhaling when you're ready. Breathing in, expanding your belly. And exhaling. And if it feels good now, just feeling your feet connecting with the earth, feeling the earth connecting with you, feeling the energy of the land where you are right now, and thanking all those who came before. Breathing in. And when you're ready, exhaling. And if it feels comfortable, dropping a little deeper into the earth, all the way to the core. Feeling the support of your ancestors from all the lands. Feeling that loving, supportive, healing energy of the earth, breathing that in up through the soles of your feet. Exhaling when you're ready. One more breath in. When you're ready, exhaling. And if you're ready, you can open your eyes and just find your way back into the space. And here we are enjoying some time right now on this Monday. And I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about the astrology, just to give you a quick update. So, Jupiter is about to go retrograde. This is actually a good thing, she says. I think it's a good thing. One of the good things about slowing things down just a little is that things have been quickening and going faster and faster and faster. And for those of you that are Geminis, I know that this is something you're used to, or if you have a Gemini moon or Gemini rising, you're used to that. But the rest of us are like, can we slow down just a little, please? So the retrograde of Jupiter in Gemini will help us slow things down. And actually, I think for you Geminis out there, I think it will also be really good because what it will do is it'll give you time to do some integrating. There's a lot about exploration that is really important. Exploration, being curious, diving in, learning, deepening, but we also need integration time. So that's something that starting this week and next week, we can start to feel that. Now, when a planet as big as Jupiter does slow down, we've already been feeling it. Sometimes it does feel like, whoa, wait, am I going the right direction? Because there's a shift. You're not going the wrong direction. You just need a little bit more time. Okay. So just spending time, give yourself time, breathing, and allowing yourself to really deepen into the opportunities that have already presented themselves this year. Okay. And the ones that are coming, because we're not done yet. Jupiter isn't going anywhere. It sticks with us. It just brings different types of opportunities. So, super important to take some time, over the next month or so and just gather. Just like for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, gather your harvest, give your Thanksgiving for what is and what's been for this year before we take another step forward, which we're going to very quickly, but it'll be different because it's not Jupiter and Gemini, right? So allow this energy, deepen in, give thanks for, the things that feel that are part of what you know to be part of the better path, even if they haven't felt good this year. But there is something better on its way. So Jupiter, Pluto. Let's talk about our friend Pluto. Our friend Pluto is about to go direct, prograde. This is a good thing. She says again, this is a good thing. What this is going to do is it will allow now the energy. Let me just say it this way. Sometimes I have to stop myself. So there's a lot that's been changing. All you have to do is talk to two friends and you're like, their lives are shifted or shifting, right? This is not hard. Pluto going direct, I think, will help us find our path. It will help us understand what it is we're letting go of and what it is we're rebirthing into the world. What parts of us, what parts of our lives, how do we want to continue forward with more healing, regenerative energy? Okay. So I think as Pluto goes direct, remember, it's still in Capricorn until late November. So there are things that are still probably going to drop away or might feel like an uneasy fit. Just notice that. Where do things feel like they fit well? Where do they feel like they're not quite right? And just allow yourself to let go where you can. I'm not a big fan, by the way, as a Taurus. It is not my first nature to let go. It is my first nature to gather, right? To call in. That's the Taurian way. So when I say these things, I'm not, just I know. I'm not thinking they're necessarily easy. And letting go doesn't have to be excruciating. It doesn't have to be painful. It might be like, oh, I can't wait to clean out my closet, or I can't wait to lighten my load. I can't wait. I'm so excited. This is fun. So please know that the shifting and changing can be done with ease and grace and joy and pleasure. And, there might be moments where it may not feel that way. So that's okay. So we're headed into the new era here pretty quick. And I think each of you has a different chart. Each of you has different priorities and emphases and also themes. So I know for myself, so I'm just going to give a self example that Pluto is traversing my fourth house of home and family, right? It's been a long time. It's still going to stay there. Even when it changes to Aquarius, it's still in that house. This time of my life, since 2010, has included a lot of change and letting go around home and family and literally houses, right? So, I'm moving next week because that's what you do when Pluto goes direct. You move again. So it's a good move. It's the right move. It's a temporary move until Pluto leaves the fourth house. And then maybe something will become a little more permanent. We'll see. I don't know. Taurus would like that. But the point is truly that movement, shifting, transforming, evolving, growing. These are things that Pluto really wants for us. And you have to take everything in the full tapestry. You can't just take one thing out. But I will tell you that I understand the depths of the Pluto changes. And if we all look back at our lives, if you go back to 2010, you really do see how much life has shifted. And even if you didn't have planets telling you to look back, you would see it. But that's part of their job as our guides, right? Is to help us remember. Okay, time for a little retrospective before Pluto leaves Capricorn for it's never coming back in our lifetime unless you choose to live to be 200 and something. So, this is it. How are we doing? What are we doing? There's so much more I could say about that. I mean, we're not all in the United States here on this call, but those of you in the United States, there's significant things that happen between now and the end of November and interesting timing. So let's see what can happen. Let's just see what we can do. So anyway, there's a lot of joy engaged in, and this is the thing about, when you're working with shadow and light, there's a lot of joy in being able to embrace what is. And again, I have to tell you, this is an ongoing daily practice for me. This is not something I can say, oh, yeah, I'm really good at this. But where's the joy? Find the joy. Where is the joy? And sometimes the joy isn't there. So remember, I wrote that newsletter and it was like, embrace joy when you can, celebrate when you can. Let the grief percolate. Do not stomp it down. Please never interpret my desire for us to feel joy on this Sagittarius moon day, which is my moon. And so I'm very wanting to be in my joy, right? Never interpret that, please, as saying, don't feel the grief, because we absolutely need to feel grief. One of the best things we can do for ourselves is to release that grief. Okay. So it's everywhere. And it's important to allow grief to flow. So if nothing else, one of the things I think that is important for this time is to remember the balance of flow and form, right? Create sacred containers for yourselves. Create places where you can cry if you need to, or laugh if you want to. Create the sacred containers that allow us to feel. Saturn in Pisces, which is retrograde right now, but Saturn, which is good, it's good for review. Saturn in Pisces, containers for feeling, sensitive emotions, love, compassion, divine energy, intuition. And actually, some of you here have some divine containers, some sacred containers that you've created during this time to help others deepen their intuition, right? So that's super powerful right now. And we all need that. So I was just having a session this morning and just reminding this beautiful being not to dial it down. Please don't dial yourselves down. I know the world wants you to dial things down, but please don't. Please allow yourself to be fully who you are, authentic self-expression. There's a whole reason for that in the astrology, but any of you who have Chiron in Aries, you know who you are. Please do not dial it down. Please continue to radiate your full, authentic being self in the world. We need you. We need all of us. Okay. So planets are giving us lots of messages. There's a lot going on out there. All right. So on that note, we're going to pull some cards. And we'll start with the oracle cards. Or no, we're not. We're starting with tarot cards. We'll start with the Light Seers Tarot. And what we're going to do is we're just going to pull the cards just to see what are the energies of this week. What can we do for ourselves this week? What will support us? And what I'm doing is I'm just tuning in, creating a very strong container for all of us, and dropping in and asking for messages. So the first one is the Hermit. And you can't, the lantern is there, the light is there. And you know how I always tell you, what do you see? What do you notice? This is the first time I've noticed something about this card ever. I've pulled this card a number, like, I don't know, hundreds of times, but there's something about today that I'm seeing something different. So always take note of what you see, what you feel, what you notice, and use that interpretation for yourself. All right. And then I'll send a follow-up later, but This will be fun. Okay, next one. Temperance. Interesting image. And I don't know if we have ever pulled this for Cosmic Compass. I mean, I've pulled it for clients before, but I don't know if we've ever pulled this for Cosmic Compass, but it's an interesting image. Got your moon and your sun, some wings. It's very interesting. So again, what do you feel? What do you notice? What do you sense? Responses, how are you responding physically? Is there a feeling in your body when you look at that card? Temperance is a really interesting card too, because, and I won't say anything just yet because I want you to have some, I'll put it in my notes for later. I want you to have some time to just kind of deepen in for yourself. Okay. And we get this one a lot. This one comes up all the time. So interesting. It's our pigs are flying card. What is that phrase? When pigs fly, right? Page of Cups. Again, what are you noticing though? Sometimes I notice something different in this card. In fact, every time I notice something different. So I'll be honest with you. This card, every time I see it, I do get an uncomfortable feeling. And then when I remember like what the message is behind the card, I'm like, oh, okay. But I have to go with that uncomfortable feeling. Like, what is that? What is happening here? What is the message that my soul is trying to send to me with that uncomfortable feeling? And therein lies the actual, I mean, that's what you want, is you want to get to what it is your soul or my soul is trying to tell me. So I'll just share with you. I'll just share so like I'll give you an example. So when I look at this, I feel really uncomfortable in my chest, right? And so I'm like, gosh, I don't know. What is this card? And then I see the feet up there, and I think I'm supposed to keep my feet planted on the ground. That's what I tell myself, right? So that's the message that comes in. I'm supposed to keep my feet planted on the ground. I'm not supposed to have these visions or dreams, or I'm supposed to be very practical and, but that's not really the message of the card, just to give you a clue. That's not really the message of the card. But for me, if that message is coming through, if I'm starting to struggle with that, then that's a clue for me. Yeah. Oh, I love that. The huge heart energy that needs to be grounded. Okay, so everyone's going to have a little different experience. Go with what's real for you first, and then learn from that. And it's great when other people share what they see, because then it's like, oh yeah, I like that. But it's really important to just really feel, what do I feel? What am I noticing? So anyway, just a thought on how to use the cards. So overall, collectively, the Hermit, Temperance, which by the way, if you, I don't know, and many of us use the word temperance in our daily life. It's not necessarily what you think it means, just to let you know. Another card that is actually quite, again, fascinating in its energy. There's a lot of energy in the Temperance card, and I'm going to just give you a hint that a lot of that card is to say we have so much energy we can connect with. How do you want to utilize it? How do you want to channel it? Temperance is the knowing and the wisdom of how you want to channel that powerful energy. Okay, so just as a side note for that, I think the Hermit is fairly clear. I mean, but again, what do you notice? What do you feel? And then the Page of Cups. Yeah, not gonna say any more there. I think you can pull it all together. But that idea of what are we taking time? How are we channeling our energy? And then what are we feeling or envisioning for ourselves, and what's possible with the energy? Okay. Now, I was told to pull a Sacred Forest Oracle card. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. So these cards are by Denise Lynn, who I love, and I've been, gosh, reading her books and taking her courses probably since the 90s, probably, I'm guessing. And I was so lucky and fortunate to see her in person in a group in the early 2000s. And she did this past life meditation that changed my whole life. And just so you know, you can do those in groups and they're very effective. Very effective. So this is why, anyway, there's more to say about that, but I have great respect for Denise Lynn. And, just so you know, when I meet you, you will always be the age you are when I meet you. In my eyes, no one ever ages. So I have to just say, when I see Denise Lynn now, I'm like, wow, she's so much older. When did that happen? Because no one ages in my mind, just to be clear, including me. Okay. All right. I don't age in my mind either. Okay. So here's our oracle card for the week. And I ask, what do we most need to know? Okay. This kind of goes with the first card that I pulled. We're not quite there yet, but hopefully we have a fall. So it says, Spirit Guardian of Winter. Retreat. Spirit Guardian of Winter. Just because we have some time, I'm going to grab the book and I'm going to look at it. I don't normally do that, but with oracle cards, I'm always like, well, yes, of course. Okay, fair. To be fair, what do you see? What do you notice? How do you feel? I personally feel like, oh, does this mean I have permission to curl up and watch Hallmark movies? Sure. But what is this, I mean, to me, this is kind of sweet because it reminds me of like my grandparents' house on the lake in upstate New York that obviously hasn't existed for 53 years or 52 years, but I can go back to that time and just feel that coziness and the snow and the little beauty of that. So yeah, I mean, I didn't want to take that away from you, so please don't let me do that. But I am going to read to you anyway. Okay. Night is coming. Oh, and I have noticed, I mean, for those of you who are in the Northern Hemisphere, have you noticed it gets dark early? Have you noticed it stays dark in the morning? Which isn't so bad because I am sleeping a little later, which I'm getting more rest. That's not a bad thing. Okay. All right. Night is coming and the temperature is dropping as you follow the path through the snow to the small cabin. A golden light flickers through the windows. You stomp the snow off your feet, open the door, and step in. Instantly, you are embraced by the heat of the fire and the tantalizing aroma of the soup nestled on a pot-belly stove. A large, overstuffed chair awaits you. You curl up in the chair and you warm yourself by the fire. Now, anybody know why we are getting this card? What is it we need to know, or what is it we might need to do for ourselves this week? You can put it in the chat. Maybe you've already done that. Let me check the chat. Oh, feel free. Put anything you want in the chat. Why you think we might be asked to give ourselves some time like this, or to, I mean, literally, maybe not literally, but maybe literally. What is it we need to do right now? What is this oracle card suggesting? Okay. All right. You gotta put those in the chat. I'll keep reading. Spirit of Guardian of Winter says, enter the silence. Enter a deep place within you. Renew, retreat, repair your body and your relationships. Examine your life and make adjustments as needed. Watch your nocturnal dreams, meditate, and look for messages from spirit. That all makes a lot of sense to me, particularly with the whole Pluto thing that I was discussing earlier. Take some time for reflection. we've got this. This is going to work. We have this amazing opportunity as we move into the future. So let's acknowledge what we can, and probably the best way to do that is to get some silence. And if you're living my life, you might be wondering where you might find that, but I will create it, right? All of you have super, super busy lives. And how can you carve out even 20 minutes? Okay? Even 20 minutes or 10, 5. Okay, in the chat, a squirrel came to my door today, first time ever, and looked through the window at me. Well, you know what that's about. Okay, you know what a squirrel means, right? If the squirrel is looking in the window, the squirrel is saying to you, yeah, winter's coming. Do you have any food that I can go bury in the yard? The squirrel's also saying, generally speaking, squirrels a lot about being prepared, be ready. But I just happen to have the squirrel card out as luck would have it. Just as luck would have it. Here it is. Since you mentioned it, and when it comes in, let me see if I can get it to come in to focus. I still don't know why this doesn't work. Okay, squirrel spirit. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Doesn't that squirrel look like they're having fun? It's interesting. So squirrel and winter kind of go together for me because every time I see the squirrels scrambling this time of year, I'm like, they know something I don't know. Like winter's coming and they have been really active. Even though I know for some of you, you've been going through heat waves, which is weird, right? I mean, England too, actually, weirdly, heat waves. But winter is coming. And I know, sadly, I think that phrase may not take on the same exact meaning anymore after some TV series that I didn't watch. I think there's a phrase, winter is coming, and I don't think it's a good phrase. I think it means something else. I don't know exactly because I didn't watch it, but let me just tell you, winter is coming is hopefully means a good thing. Like it's going to be time for us to integrate, rest, renew, regenerate. But make sure you have what you need. Let's take the squirrel. Make sure you have what you need as you go into that silence, as you go into that retreat. And I'm just going to really do a shout out here. I've got circles. Kristen has circles. That Denise has circles, the other Denise. Many of you have circles. I'm just looking to see who's here. Those circles, those sacred containers are created so that we can take time together to go into the silence. So we can take time together to go into the retreat, as it were. When I do the mini retreats every month, there's a reason. Like we need something to bring us inward. So, and my guess is that these cards are just reminding us that we need to do that more often, right? We need to do that with each other. We need to do that alone. We need to do that more often. So that's what I have for you today. I love all of you. It's been so good to see you. And I'm gonna end this recording. Thank you, everyone, and I'll stay